This is just a simple pointer for any video you watch of mine or any talk I give or even reading the book. And I say this in various ways, but sometimes I think it's helpful just to point it out directly and not complicate it with any other sort of practices or whatever. That is this: no matter what I'm talking about, no matter whether it sounds like I'm talking about a practice or no practice or surrender, or if I'm talking about initial awakenings or deeper realization or non-duality or no self-realization or whatever it is I seem to be talking about, the point is never to understand it. It's never to kind of get your head around it. Some people will use that terminology. It's to grok it. If you don't know the word grok, it's a great word. It's like to have it land intuitively. So that's it. Anytime you're listening, go for the grok. You know, just try to take it in. Just let it come in, whatever I'm saying. Even if your mind suddenly just can't do anything with the words anymore, and it's like you're not even really listening to the words, but you're still somehow aware and paying attention, that's okay. Let that happen. That's a grok experience. That's an experience of just becoming seamless with your experience of the transmission or the words coming in or your environment, right? It's perfectly okay to just allow that. So that's all I'm really doing most of the time, is just trying to lead anyone listening back to that deep intuitive experience that's available right now. And if you do it enough times, you become familiar with it. And when you become familiar enough with it, then there's a way to just naturally orient to it. And when we naturally orient to that, then the illusory identity structures and beliefs and all of the superficial stuff that seems like we're interested in it, you know, all the thoughts and beliefs and trying to understand, all of that just quiets down over time. So an early experience often of the videos I make and so forth, and I just see this in comments a lot, is like, you know, I don't really know what you're saying. I can't really understand it. I don't get it, but something in me tells me it's important, or I feel compelled to listen. That's great. That's it. It's totally okay. That's what it feels like to trust your intuition. That's what it feels like to just go for the grok rather than the understanding. And if you get what I'm saying here, that this is about an intuitive experience, an intuitive opening in you, more than any information or knowledge or me trying to explain something to you in a way that I want you to understand, that's never what it's about. It's just about that intuitive alignment, or touching in, or dropping in, or letting go into this experience. The grocking of the message. That's what it's about. If you get that, then you're in a good place, because even when you're not quote unquote getting what I'm saying, or it's the words are just confusing and the mind's getting twisted up and confused or going on tilt, or even if it's arguing with it, right? The mind's like sometimes a little rebellious. All that stuff can be happening, and you know in a deeper place that you're aligned with what's going on. You're aligned with why you're actually listening to this, because it's not about any of that. It's about something very, very deep. Very, very subtle, perhaps. That's it, right? So then it's fine. It doesn't matter what kind of experience you have. It doesn't matter how much you seem to understand or not understand. And over time, often the mind does come somewhat into alignment with all of this, where the mind does start to sort of get it a little bit. It starts to understand what's going on, even though it's also getting disarmed. It's also getting, getting its rug pulled again and again. So there is often some kind of maturity, at least at the intellectual level and then in the emotional level with the spiritual process. But even then, this process is not about the mind or even the emotion body, really. What's happening is beyond all of that, or fundamental to all of that, or more subtle than all of that. That's what's driving it. That's what. that's all that's left when everything is said and done. And when the mind ultimately sort of stops in a different way, stops fabricating illusion. When the mind stops fabricating illusion, that could be called realization or liberation even. Now, when that occurs, things look very different. Reality is experienced very different. Different than the way the mind experiences it, or the way the seeking mind or the struggling mind experiences it, but not different than it is, because it is just this way. So it's more primary, more real, more natural, more simple, more already here. But that grokking, that orientation toward an intuitive resonation is really what matters. That's the way to listen to these videos. If there's no other way, or there's no other, I don't know what way to talk to yourself about it. So don't use a litmus test of, do I understand it? How much am I getting out of it? Do I understand it more than I did before? If you resonate with this, just trust that. Trust the resonation. Trust the resonance, and just go for the grok.